Hi, I'm Captain Anthony Joyce, an assistant professor of military science at St. John's University in Minnesota. You are about to view my instruction of the class, Expanding Your Sphere of Influence. I utilize David Kolb's experiential learning theory to structure this class for my cadets and incorporated TRADOC's approved lecture, gaming, and role-playing methods of instruction. I hope you enjoy this video.
Alright, so good morning. Captain Joyce, the MS3 instructor, and today we're going to be going over our class, Expanding Your Sphere of Influence. Alright, it's very important. The only testable material that is in this is how you act and apply it in the field when we do stick slings or when we do key leader engagements. There's not going to actually be a test on it, okay? But I want you to take away the concept and understand what it is we're trying to teach you. So with that being said, the reference I'm going to be using is ADP 6-22, which is Army Leadership. That's straight out of the FM. And then the environment and risk assessment for this class, currently we're at St. John's University. Positive environment for learning. The risk assessment for this class is going to be low. And then again, emergency exit in case of fire or any kind of emergency. We're going to exit the class from here, make a left, go down the staircase to the ground floor, and exit towards the St. Mary parking lot. All right, so here are our learning objectives. I want you to walk away from the class with these three things I'm going to show you. So let's go with the first one here. Read that for me, please.
Analyze the concepts of sphere of influence and sphere of control.
Yep, so we're going to be talking about two things. Influence and control. Interlinked, very similar, but there's a nuance there, a little bit of difference. So you're going to walk away being able to analyze the difference between the two. All right, let's go here. Portland.
Appraise the value of emotional intelligence within the concept of sphere of influence.
So this value here, emotional intelligence, okay? You're all going to hear about this at Cadet Summer Training. It's going to be talking about 5 key concepts that I'll go into later on in the class, but it's very important that you understand or get familiar with that concept of emotional intelligence. All right, Darlin, last one.
Discriminate what is within your sphere of influence.
All right, basically be able to determine what is in your sphere or out of your control. Okay, very simple. All right, with that being said, influence. Granger, read that for me.
A leader can influence others outside the chain of command and succeed in gaining support for the stated goals.
Okay, so influence, what does that mean to you with regards to the Army? It's talking about the chain of command. What does that sentence mean to you?
Outside of the chain of command would mean you can influence others that are not necessarily within your sphere of control. Within your squad, like I can influence another squad if I'm squad leader.
Perfect. So if you're another squad leader and you're out there on the battlefield, perhaps what you do influences the squad next to you, right? Everybody agree with that? If you attack an enemy bunker and you kill the enemy, they're no longer there, so it positively benefits the squad next to you. All right. If you fail at that mission, they may have to come and save you. So you're influencing them pretty rapidly. I'm going to show you guys a small video. It's just about influence. Okay. It's a little bit humorous. I want you to discuss afterwards some of the concepts of influence that we've talked about. Okay. What did you all think? What is a form of influence that was shown in the film? The what? The banana. How did the banana, how is that influence?
Well, they all wanted it.
They all wanted it. Here you go. What else? So let's go, let's someone pick off where Miller left off. The banana, they all wanted it. Let's apply that. What we're learning. Lindy.
It was a distraction from their work, so it took them away from what they were doing and I guess influenced how they worked and what they did.
Good, so it influenced their behavior, right? So an object, something they wanted, like the banana, could influence their behavior. In that case, they kind of worked poorly, right? They didn't work well. But perhaps we can apply things to make people improve their performance at work, right? Same concept, all right, good job. So I'm going to talk to you now about control and influence, all right? There's a difference, although it's very nuanced. So here we have what we can control, visually depicted on the screen. So what we control is very, very small in comparison to everything in the world that we can influence. What can we influence? It gets a little bit bigger, right? So as an individual, I can control my actions. What I do will influence the people around me. So how I act, how I talk, how I am will influence others around me. It might leave an impression on them. It might not. It might be positive or negative. Okay, so our sphere grows bigger and what we can influence. And the last one is, as you can see, the largest of all, outside of our control and influence. Does someone want to give me an example of something that is outside of our control and influence?
The weather.
The weather. Good job. All right, what else? Let's apply this to, I want to hear an answer related to the enemy.
What kind of weapons they have? Exercise?
Okay, what kind of weapons they have? Great. And then let's do, I'm going to get two more. I got Granger and I got Johnson. I'm going to go to. All right, Granger.
You can't control how they react.
Okay, perfect.
Their ideology.
That's true. Cannot control their ideology. Okay, so all these things, sometimes it's going to be outside of our control and influence. So when you go out there on the battlefield and you're fighting that enemy, there's going to be things that you're going into, like Miller said, they're weapons, which may or may not put you at a disadvantage or an advantage. So if you're out there on a squad attack or platoon attack, and the enemy has armored vehicles, jets, well then, hey, it's out of your control. That's just a bad day for you. It's going to be a bad fight, okay? If you go out there though and they have pitchforks and muskets, well then it's going to be a good day for you. Okay, so these little things are outside of your control. Emotional intelligence theory. So I'm going to cover the 5 aspects and concepts of emotional intelligence, okay? Very important because this will be applied at cadet summer training. Self-awareness is the first one. Anybody have an idea what self-awareness is? Bobby.
Understand how you're being perceived amongst your audience.
Perfect. So self-perception, being aware of how not only you are, but how others might perceive you. Right? Perfect. Self-regulation.
Taking what you perceived in self-awareness and changing your strategy to best communicate with people you're working with.
Perfect example. So Gardner's theory of emotional intelligence, when he talks about self-regulation, is exactly that. So the first one is self-awareness. Understanding your strengths and weaknesses, who you are, looking inside, internalizing. Self-regulation is when you apply that. So if I look at myself and I say, man, I have a bad temper, I got anger management issues, self-regulation is me being able to bring that in and self-correct so that when I do interact with other people, I'm not exerting that poor social skill, okay? So being able to regulate your own emotions, your own self. Motivation. This is a simple one. What is this?
Your drive and your determination to complete a task.
Drive and determination to complete a task, something that it inspires you, something that gets you to act. All right, so without motivation, without any motivating force, there's no reason to act. As human beings, we act because we desire something, or we desire something to occur. So motivation is key in making that happen. It's the starter to our ignition, so to speak, okay? Let's see here, empathy. How about this one?
It's like understanding how others feel and like relating that to yourself. Actually, that's sympathy. But no, actually, it is empathy.
Yeah,
Relating
right.
how others feel to yourself and like trying to understand why they might feel that way.
Okay, why would that have all these skills that we've talked about so far? So these are all talking almost about the self, all right, our own self. Empathy, though, we start to talk about others. Why is this skill valuable? Go ahead, Bobby.
This is my personal favorite, sir, but empathy is, the reason why it's valuable is if you're empathetic towards a situation, for example, a key leadership engagement, and you have a good sense of empathy for the audience in which you are trying to think a certain way or agree with the United States Army and their mission statement at the time, then you know how to portray yourself to them. You would know how to attack the situation.
Okay, great. So you put yourself in their shoes. You see it from their perspective. That's key. Because when you sit in their shoes, guess what you understand? Their motivation, and then you can provide that to them, like you say, and then get them to act, get them to work with you, influence them. All right. There you go. And last one, very important: social skills. Nelson.
How to interact around others. So like social interaction with other people. How, yeah.
Okay. So once we get to these 4 concepts, the 5th one, social skills, is where it all comes together in a big package. This is where we really interact with other people, right? This is how we understand their motivations. This is where we show empathy. We regulate ourselves in social situations. We're aware of ourselves in social situations. So that's the culminating concept here, okay? And let me ask this final follow-up question, Nelson. Social skills, are they universal? Or are they different?
They can be different depending on like the culture.
Okay, culture. So cultural differences, even within the United States, for example, different in the South than in the Northeast or Northwest, okay? So it's very important to understand being self-aware of the values that you have, the social skills you have, and then applying them to the area you're in, okay? All right, so with that being said, I need 3 team leaders to come up here right now, volunteers. 3 volunteers. 1, 2, 3, okay. If you could, just stand over there for me. Team leader number 1, you are Kim Kardashian. That's who you are right there, all right? Good deal. All right, what's team leader number 2? All right, Bussy, you're going to be Batman. All right, Christopherson, team number 3, you ready? You're a minion. Okay, everybody else in the room, you're going to be Expendables, okay? So you're all Expendables. So here's where we're going to get into the gaming method of instruction now. We're going to apply the concept we just learned about influence and control to this game. Okay, so I'm going to apply what we've learned and talked about and apply it to this situation. All right, so scenario, if I get a volunteer, someone read.
I created this practical exercise to achieve the active experimentation stage of Kolb's experiential learning theory. TRADOC's gaming and role-playing methods of instruction are used to facilitate the application of control and influence, the core learning objectives of this class.
Hey, I'm Mayor Rick Grimes. How you doing? Glad to see you. Yeah, not too good. Not too good. No. Zombies came and attacked our town, and they've killed about half my people. And so, how's your family? My son Carl is doing. He's horrible. You know, he got shot in the eye. You got shot in the eye. But tell you what we need though. We are low on food. Yeah. My son, my baby boy, he needs to eat. So if you can do me a favor and get me some food. You know, well, what are you here for? What are you doing? Hello.
My lord.
Yes.
We would like to work with you.
Many people do.
Yes.
Yes.
To expand your empire and ours.
Oh. Okay. What empire are you talking about?
We are talking about gaining the trust and hopefully gaining influence over the city that was going to be.
Yes, Alexandria has been on my mind for some time.
We clearly saw from the video, all you need is blow down.
How do we challenge?
You can just say you want to fight them, and then you can go to a fight.
I have counseled with my team, and we agree with this agreement with the Alliance.
Okay, there you go. You guys shake hands on it. All right, and now you guys. So our first learning objective, okay? Here it was up here. Analyze the concept of sphere, control, and influence. And then down there, Poppy, read that question for me.
How do the concepts of sphere of influence and sphere of control come into play during this scenario?
What do you guys think? Anybody? Nelson?
Team 1's influence wasn't that big until Team 2 and Team 3 went to war, and there was only like, 3 people left. So then we got a ton of influence.
Yep. So their actions, right, that had nothing to do, you guys can control that, right? So their actions fighting each other created your influence to be magnified. You had a lot more power and influence in the region. Good job. Team 3, what do you think of that? Do you agree with Christopher?
I agree.
Yeah, because you wouldn't probably have got, if you slaughtered this team here, how would people
we
have?
had all of our people in
Yeah.
that team, we would, yeah.
Okay. All right, next one. Someone read the question on here for me. Yep.
What aspects of emotional intelligence theory did you apply in this scenario?
What do we apply? What do we apply? From the 5 were self-regulation, self-awareness, empathy, motivation, and social skills.
Sir, this one was all about empathy. Because the best way I thought to negotiate with Alexandria was see what they need and how can we provide that to get a mutual understanding.
Okay, which was, what did they need?
Food, water, and security.
Okay, and so there you go. So it's food, water, and security. Security was provided. Food could have been provided, but it wasn't. Okay, so there's also, what that teaches us is there might be multiple means to an end. Multiple means to an end, right? So, good job. All right, and last point. Someone read this question for me. Now, let's go with Thomas.
In this scenario, what did you believe you had control of? What could you influence, and what was out of control of influence?
So let's start with the first one. What could you guys influence?
My approach when I was going up to different leaders or just different people, so I knew my approach was going to be different when talking to Rick Grimes compared to Walter White.
Yep.
And also what I expected out of that.
Okay, so you use a different personal technique depending on who you're talking to. Okay, I like that. He did like the handshake with Walter White, the bro hug. Yeah, okay. But Rick Grimes, the mayor, you're more professional.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. All right, what was out of, what did you guys have control over?
Our team's decisions and what our team did.
What your team could do, right? And you guys talk amongst yourselves, you guys determine what strategy you're gonna have. You actually control that. What else? Anybody have something over here?
I was gonna say, well, yeah.
Yeah, okay, what was that you control?
Like what the other teams did, so the fact that they got insecurity before we had an opportunity to do that really, like, I don't know.
Can you do anything about it?
It was out of our control, so
Yeah,
then we had to
okay.
fight.
What else do you control? There's several things. Yeah.
The outcome will be the battle between the teams.
The outcome of the battle between teams was out of control, yes. Could you influence it?
Yes.
You could. And perhaps the dice, the weapons, right, that we had issued to you guys, those were out of your control.
You could control like what deals the guy made with you. You could choose like which deal that you can like control like how you want the deal to go.
So you could influence it, but you couldn't necessarily control exactly what they wanted. All right, and, Mustafa.
You couldn't control what the leader of Alexandria was going to choose with the other teams.
Yep.
So he's constantly, going back and forth with what, the rationale behind his decisions to better Alexandria as well.
Okay, perfect. There you go. All right. So based off what we learned today, does anybody have any questions about this concept? Or how it would be applied? As a platoon leader, a squad leader, or a profession in general? Go ahead.
So, sir, when you're in a deployed environment, let's say you're going into a KLE, what
Yeah.
are the limitations you, as someone engaging in a KLE have right away? Like, what does the Army say you can and cannot provide?
Okay, good question. So wherever you deploy, because where you guys are going to deploy as future platoon leaders and officers, it's probably going to be a lot different than the places I've deployed to, like Iraq, probably even Afghanistan. The limits are set by your chain of command, obviously. So as a platoon leader, they're going to equip you with the means to influence others. So you're going to know going in, all right, I have, whether it's food, I can provide, maybe we're going to build a school, I can promise that, or maybe promise we're going to test their water out or clean it up. So they're going to give you left and right limits. So now, what you have to do as a platoon leader, is you utilize these skills you learned is negotiate. Like try to find out what's motivating them, what do they want more than the other. If they want clean water, you might need to go with the clean water route. Or you go back to your chain of command and say, hey, I talked to this village elder, and they're not really in the need of a school. They need really clean water because there's none in the area and children are getting sick and dying. So right now, why don't we focus our resources on the water versus the school? So as a platoon leader, you go in there, you can't commit to anything that you've not already been told ahead of time you're able to commit as far as resources go, but you're kind of like the eyes and ears of the Army. Okay, so you're going in and you're finding out what their motivation is. What do they want? You do that through the empathy and through social skills. Any other questions before we close out? Okay, what do you guys think? Yeah, you get a little bit of understanding now of the concept of control and influence, what you can and can't control. Okay, good. Well, that's all I got for you guys. I'm going to dump this bag of candy out, and first come, first serve, and you'll have a good day. Cool.